Hi and welcome. I'm delighted you're here. This is our tea with Monty. I was going to do this outside, but this is a better environment actually for recording, so that's why we're down here. Today is unusual in the sense that, folks, if you're new to the channel, this is a question and answer time. And some questions have been sent in advance, and I am now in the process of answering a few of them. Unfortunately, there's been such a response, I can't possibly answer all of the questions in one video, or you'd be here for an hour or longer. Now I'm ready. Andrea from Slovakia, she says her question is, could I play something on the guitar in my videos? Absolutely not. My hand shakes too much, Andrea, and I have this tremor that's going on and it just doesn't allow me to play anymore. That's why I'm making guitars. Kyle says he'd love to see a video covering truss rod adjustments, and you are going to see that, Kyle. I'm also going to show you how you cut it in the neck, how you set it in, how you oil it, how you wrap it, everything to do with the truss rod, and the truss rod setup will come a little later on. Now Greg was on a walkabout, he says, in France, and recently passed a tea shop and decided to stop and have a cup of tea in honor of the channel. Greg, that's crazy, man. I love it. Thank you very much. So this is to you, back at you. Tracy in Central Florida. This is a really interesting question. Right out of the blue, she says to me, do I fish? Only when I go in a fish and chip store. That's about it. Sorry, Tracy, no fishing here. Jordan from Quebec says to me, what is the first song I've ever learned when starting to play a guitar? Oh my goodness, that was so many years ago. I have no way of knowing what that would be, Jordan. I'm sorry about that. Chad says he's from CMRC Custom. Monty, do you come up with your own guitar designs, and are you frustrated or find it difficult to come up with original features that haven't already been done? No, I'm happy with everything that's already done. I'm just delighted. In fact, they've pioneered for me, so this is great. Let's carry on. Jade, she sent me a couple of questions, and she says, what persuaded me, if you will, into making guitars in the first place? Jade, I had cancer, came off that, and I couldn't play golf anymore. Just didn't have the stamina. Decided, what am I going to do? Talked to my daughter, long and the short. She said, well, go for it, Dad, because I just casually said, maybe I'll make a guitar. And so that's how it got started, and that's a long time ago. She also asked a second question about what advice I would give to others starting a business. Most people will overestimate their sales, underestimate their expenses. Look at those two items very carefully. San Diego from Colombia says he'd love to know, what do I consider to be a starter kit for a luthier? StuMac and LMI are two different companies that supply materials and kits and all that to luthiers and people building guitars and other musical instruments. So they both have guitar kits. You might want to take a look. Don't spend a lot of money on a guitar kit initially. Get the experience before you do it, and then you'll find you're going to want to start your own, not just have a kit. Norm from New Zealand says to me, have I always been a luthier, interested in woodworking, or do I have a pre-life? I have a pre-life, Norm, for sure. I had my own business and it was very successful. The woodworking is something that I have done from the time I was about 6 years of age. I just simply sat and watched my dad when he was working in his workshop. David says, I use Elixir Extra Lights for a while, then he switched to D'Addario's ultralight guitar strings. So he wants to know what I would suggest for a more modern playing guitar, not classical. Well, really, David, it's what feels best in your hand. I use lights, and I would recommend light. I think they're good, and you do have the right string, in my opinion. I think that's great. Patrick also asked, do I make other types of guitars like mandolins, ukulele, Wessenburn style guitars, resonated guitars, that kind of thing? I have made a ukulele, but I haven't made any of the other guitars that you mentioned. I will in the future. I like the idea of making a mandolin. Hey, Waldo from Tennessee says, I'm curious if you hit any roadblocks on losing weight on your 45-pound or so loss, or rather he lost 45 pounds. When he changed to a plant-based diet, everything came to a halt. Yes, Your body is getting adjusted. I've been at the same weight now for about 3-4 months, and you said you've been there for 6 months. I've started back on the keto, which is the low carb, high fat diet, and that's the only one that has worked for me ever. So I would suggest you take a look at the books that I've indicated in the links down below. There's a book by Dr. Mark Hyman. There's a book by Dr. David Pohlmuller. And Diane has a book there on keto. They're all excellent books. I have them. I've read them several times. And I'm currently rereading The Grain Brain because I think it's so interesting. Ole from Denmark says he's 50 years old and he's practicing the guitar. How much time does he need to spend? 15 minutes a day, Ole, is equivalent to a full-time course at university of about 90 hours. So I would suggest you give that a go. Try to work up past the 30-minute mark where you're spending maybe 45 minutes repeating the same thing, redoing everything that you've done before. Just keep it going and don't stop. Arya from Iran asked if I've ever had Persian tea. No, and I don't even know where to get it. If I did, I would definitely like to try it. Now, Michael in Detroit said to me, what made me decide to do this channel? I don't know. I had some time on my hands, if you will, and I thought, what could I do that might be of interest to people? And it was suggested that I make a guitar and show people how to make a guitar. So here we are. William from the UK says, how long did it take me to renovate my shop? About 3 weeks, maybe 4. We did the walls, and then I brought in all these tables that surround me, so that made it really quick. Gabriel from Austria, been there, love it, Kitzbühel. And Paul from Montana asked if I can comment about my weight loss. My weight loss came as a result of reading the books that I've indicated down in the links down below. Eat Fat, Get Thin, Food, What the Heck Should I Eat, and Grain Brain, and the Keto Diet. In addition to that, what I did is I did some intermittent fasting. Adam Crump says, do I have a P.O. box? No, but I have an address indicated below. Do I like the same music as my son Peter? No, not really, but some of it I like, and I don't think he likes much of my stuff. Ryan is an Earl Grey fan, and he wants to know about polishing fret wires and fingerboards. I polish the fret wires with a Dremel tool. I tape over the fingerboard. You'll see all of that in an upcoming video episode because I will polish the frets, and they shine like the bumper on a 1957 Chevy. They're gorgeous. And as for the fingerboard, I hit that with lemon oil. Nabby from Belgium says about the challenges in making videos here. I have huge challenges. I've got my mic over here. I've got my camera here. I've got my light over here. All right. All of this has to come out when I do any kind of woodworking in here because I cannot allow dust to get into the camera equipment or all over the tripods and the lighting and all that. The dust in guitar building is like flour. It's not coarse like on a beach. It's really, really almost pasty-like. It's so soft. So those become a major problem. So yeah, getting the lights right, trying to avoid the glare like I'm getting off the back cupboard here. I'll come up with a solution for that. Christopher from Terrace, BC, I've been there. I had the opportunity to speak there on more than one occasion. He said he's not a builder, but would like to know about book recommendations. The first thing that comes to mind is The Grain Brain. It will change your life. It's like losing weight. And one of the other things that I didn't mention, and it comes out of the Grain Brain book as well, is that I eat whole food. No more junk food, no more processed food. It's garbage, nothing white, no white potatoes, no white bread, no pasta. Life is tough, but you'll survive. Tristan says, my question is, how could I go about hiring me to build a custom guitar? Is there a waiting list? No waiting list. If you're interested, just use the email down below, send me a message, and tell me what you're looking for. Gary from Tennessee wants to know what I do about the humidity and the heat here in the very cold Canadian climate in the winter. It's a real problem. So I have a humidifier on the furnace to put moisture into the air. I have a dehumidifier down here to take the moisture out of the air. So what I do is I use these things like this okay, to monitor my humidity in here. And this tells me right now I'm at about 44% humidity, which is just perfect for where I would like to be. But I like it anywhere between 40 and 45% of humidity. Vinicus from Brazil says, what kind of music and bands do I listen to? What songs did I used to play? I used to play a lot of country, a lot of folk. I played a little bit of jazz, not very much. Kelsey from Texas writes, I enjoy tea to help me wind down after a stressful day at work. Do you have any recommendations? Yes. Drink English breakfast tea and don't wait till you get home. Have a cup at work. You can go to Twinings and get some English breakfast tea there, and take the bag and put it in a cup of hot water at work and add some milk or cream to it, and you've got some soothing opportunity happening for you right then and there at work. Laura from Calgary, Alberta. What decided me to get into the guitar making business? I've really discussed that already. Any chance that we'd see me expand into photography? We already have somebody in the family who is doing a pretty good job on that, so I'll leave that to him. And the answer is, in short, no. Sabby from India says, how much sugar do I put in my tea? Sabby, as you saw when I made the tea, I don't put any sugar in it. No honey, no sugar, nothing like that, because I don't want any sugar. Sugar, it makes you fat, and I don't want that. Best part of being Canadian? Being Canadian. What more can I say? It's just terrific being here. Ashley from Westminster, Colorado. I always want to know what flavor you're having for the day. Primarily, it's the English breakfast black tea that I have, Ashley. Do I use loose tea or bag tea, a common box brand? Sometimes, all of those. Today, it was a loose tea. What got me started on making guitars for myself? It was, as I mentioned earlier, a little bit about the cancer, and we took care of that. Diana, North England says it's in their blood, the tea for the English, and I could not agree more. I know a number of English people, and they're right, it is there. Manuel from Argentina says, I'd love to know how and when I started crafting my own guitars. I started about 12, 13 years ago, I guess it is now. And I just started. I just got a book and started reading and watched some videos, and away we went, and it's all history from there. Paul in the Netherlands writes that his wife is from Turkey, and he was wondering what my opinion was on tea. Should it be in a see-through glass mug? The shape and the size affect the drinking. Yes, it does. If it's a big mouth tea, then it's going to cool off faster. That's why I use this mug, because it's narrow at the top and it holds it and it slims down. As for the glass, I don't really care about that. I don't think that's a big deal for you. If you want to see through to the tea, that should be fine. But for me, it's this. Elsie from Wales, she says, how did I get started in making guitars in this hobby? Well, I've already kind of covered that, but Elsie, thank you for your question. Wales is another part of the world that is absolutely gorgeous. Well, folks, that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you for your questions. We really need to do a live event. Now, check out the links below, because people ask me about addresses. It's down below. They've asked me about books. It's all indicated down below. And if you like this, please give me a thumbs up and a hit the subscribe, but you're already subscribed probably. And you know what to do with the bell, right? Thanks very much. Really appreciate you being here. It's fun doing this stuff, and I really am grateful for all of your support. Thank you so much. Bye for now.